Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So today I wanted to do this Finding Om kind of passage in regards to America's obsession over celebrities and kind of some thoughts on how Hollywood are the new gods of today. So if you know anything about human history and human spirituality, you know that every country and culture or belief system has had its own gods. So obviously, the easy one for us in Western civilization to know is Christianity. People believe in Jesus Christ. The Vikings believed in the Norse gods. You had things like Loki and Odin. The Romans and the Greeks had their own gods. The Egyptian had their own gods. So they had gods that were underneath, the big hierarchy of God itself. And in 2005, I studied abroad in Australia, and there was a lot of me that felt like I needed to just get out of this country to kind of heal myself from a lot of stuff that happened, things like childhood wounds and stuff like that. And the interesting part is, I guess it's because I am quirky, in the sense of I'm an Aquarius, so I believe in astrology, and I've helped learn and discover about myself and my psychology and kind of my spiritual mission through the use of metaphysics, understanding myself and how I'm programmed through astrology and numerology and different things like that. And it's really helped me on my path because it does kind of go against the grain of Western psychology, which that is important definitely to help overcome certain things like stress and wounds and trauma and stuff like that to help deprogram ourselves. But I just have never been a mainstream person, and I remember as a younger kid, maybe not a kid, but a teenager, or at least in college, I just couldn't really quite understand what this obsession was over celebrities. And I think part of it is because I have such a business mindset, is these people care about themselves and their paycheck, and it's middle America, the peasants that are supporting people by going through the movies, buying their music CDs and things like that. Celebrities really don't actually give a shit for you, about you. And today, as we've seen celebrities start to trickle into politics, especially the Democratic Party using Katy Perry or Lady Gaga as some performance pieces, this is really scary. We see mega churches that are inviting people like Justin Bieber to perform. That is very scary because they are using Hollywood celebrities as a tool, like an endorsement or a sponsorship, to be able to market their brand or their company or their corporation or their mission or something like that to look edgy, hip, and cool. So to some degree, they're being used as a tool and a pawn. And people, Americans especially, are sucking it up like, grape juice, that they think these people are out for the betterment of the world. And it's not. Some celebrities have so much money that they can, rise up and take a stand against certain things like Leonardo DiCaprio did on environmentalism. So I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying we're at a point where celebrities are now having a big say in kind of the evolvement of humanity, and that's a problem. In addition, we have celebrities that are, they're getting into the minds of people. And I remember, I think it was about a year ago, I saw a video of Chris Pratt doing an award speech from Nickelodeon, and he was telling kids to start to believe in God. Why are we at a point of humanity where a celebrity has to influence the young, the youth, and the teens to start to believe in God? That message should not be coming from a celebrity who is a millionaire who gives a two shits about anybody else except for his or her paycheck, their lifestyle, and their roles in these movies. So I've never been celebrity obsessed. I find it weird. I personally have been on all these, vagabond journeys in my life to escape America and the celebrity obsessed culture. But now the problem is it's becoming so steeped within every part of our daily living with the growth of an expansion of social media that it's now a plague that's taking over the rest of the world. And so we are becoming, as America and Americans, we are continuing to be the leader of the world, but we are now leading the world down a very dangerous and odd path that can lead to a dystopia. I mean, I have friends that are from really poor countries. Like my one friend is from Ethiopia, and every time he goes home, people think he lives like what they see in the movies, the Beverly Hills lifestyle, and he's like, absolutely not at all. He's just a common man making, like $17 an hour. So I'm going to read a part of my journey. I am in northern India at this point, but I already studied abroad in Australia, so I'm going to start at page 119. So I had a driver, his name was Om, and he drove me through the Golden Triangle, which is this path that goes from Delhi, Jaipur to Agra and back to Delhi. So colorful trucks, women carrying pots on their head, children chasing tires, and buses with people, dogs, bikes strapped to the roof. I saw everything from the hilarious to the miserable. Although I had a sense of freedom, something inside me wanted to reach out to these people in a deeper way. It was as if I saw all walks of life in the matter of driving an hour. I enjoyed traveling off the beaten path. Being in this country for less than 24 hours, I realized that my Indian experience was exactly opposite of that in Australia. Pure, beautiful, indulgent, and now in light of what I was having now, humbling. Australia influenced my disappointment of being an American. Now, I will say this, when I did study abroad in Australia, that was in 2005. Okay. That was mostly due to Bush being in office, and we Yankees were not always liked. It mainly had to do with political issues, but the Aussies sometimes could not relate to Americans. They liked individual Americans, but negative stereotyping was prevalent. In Australia, a friend who taught me how to surf told me about a story about seeing Bill Clinton, his family, and bodyguards walking on the beach one day. He said there was no use for the bodyguards as he and the locals simply waved hello, treating him as if he were just another regular human being. He then spotted a set of Americans who were ecstatic and requested an autograph from him and a photo. He claimed that our culture was celebrity obsessed and sometimes had the wrong viewpoints on life. The surfer dude explained, "You Yanks treat celebrities as if they are gods and look up to them as if they saved your life from cancer or some fucking awful disease. We Aussies, we kind of treat people the same. I mean, we have material people too, but our country's overall outlook is way different than America. And I'm not labeling all America, but the vibe of your country gives off its priorities are not right. Like, what makes Bill fucking Clinton any celebrity better than any of us? All they have is more money. There's more to life than all that glitz and glamour bullshit." I replied, "Well, mate, I'm not a part of that crowd, and Australia has really affected me, and I'm thankful to evolve as an independent, free-thinking mind." He interrupted, "And then the poor man gets degraded for a sexual mistake. Sex is a normal human craving, He's a man, in fact, a human, People make mistakes. Half of America would drop dead if they knew how many women the French, Italian, and I guess some of us Aussies have slept with. Maybe even all Europeans. But Americans are conservative compared to other Western cultures. Letting go and living life without being uptight or always worrying about your image is the most freedom one can seek." I turned to my friend and said, "Hey, I'm one of those sexually conservative Americans, dude. But whatever other people choose is their decision. I was a kid during the Clinton era, so I don't know how people reacted. But yes, sex is usually more conservative in our culture." He asked, "Why are you like that?" I replied, "I don't know. It's like my fucking mind gets in the way of inhibitions and making bad decisions. And I know it will be detrimental to my emotions. Plus, being conservative with sex is not necessarily a bad thing. It saves a lot of emotional drama." He said, "Yeah, but," and then I cut him off to say, "I don't know. Somehow I feel like I fit in more here than back home. I don't know why, but it's like my mind is on the same Australian wavelength. But I know, talking to many Kiwis, that they strongly displayed their lack of love toward Americans. I mean, we're not all bush lovers. I'm starting to see we do prioritize things differently than the States. At my vegan cafe job, I've started to read about health, and I feel my country is killing the minds and bodies of citizens with all these artificial ingredients. It's like we're eating plastic and walking around with dead spirits. But who knows? I'm a rebel, you know? I believe in equality and an instinctual trait of being a water bearer. I am sexually prude compared to other cultures, yes. I am happy for that, and I am proud to be from Cleveland in America. I do love my country. I'm just starting to see things differently and trying to process how to accept our culture's flaws. In India, my mind took a 180-degree turn. I became thankful and appreciative for what America has and what excess we have of in our country. Resources, homes, food, clear-colored water, and opportunities. America, the powerhouse country, truly has it all. But does our nation really realize and appreciate that? Ohm and I drove throughout the dusty back roads while I pondered about the cultural differences. I thought about the time I visited Byron Bay and Nimbin, Australia. Byron Bay was a hippie beach town where surfing and organic smoothies ruled the land. Nimbin was an out-of-the-box town where peace signs, marijuana, and psychedelic art painted the town with smiles. My friends visited Nimbin during Mardi Gras, a festival featuring a parade of women wearing marijuana headdresses and Greek-inspired pot-leafed panty-wearing men proudly raising weed flags in the air. They showed me pictures, and I laughed at Australia's liberal life. I visited Nimbin on a separate occasion, but I could not relate to that type of lifestyle. I connected more with the vibes and the lifestyle of Byron Bay. This one organic coffee shop displayed a big bumper sticker on the door that showed the outline of Australia's country. Inside, there were large letters that said AUS, not USA, with the Aussie flag in the corner. The shop also displayed a Good Bush, Bad Bush poster, which presented the Good Bush as a marijuana plant and George Bush being the Bad Bush. Many Australians were passionate about American politics, even going as far as voicing opinions about our seeming lack of our knowledge. In Australia, I became embarrassed because I could not define Senate or House of Representatives. Aussies knew more about the American government than I did. It was as if the Australians saw something that not all Americans understood. The Aussies' outside perspective recognized the big picture and how the U.S.'s decisions affect the world. Presidential decisions, as well as American attitudes, prompted Aussies to voice their honest opinion about the American culture. A swerve of Ohm's car around a pothole brought me back to reality. My ears quickly connected to the traditional Indian music on the radio of a lady's high-pitched voice babbling words I did not understand. So I wanted to share this because I think it's becoming more common and prevalent today since 2005. Oh my God, it was 14 years ago. It is becoming so scary today to see how indoctrinated we are with this celebrity-obsessed culture, that people are prioritizing and blowing all, millennials, a lot of millennials don't even have a retirement account, but they will blow $500 to go to an NFL game, or they will go ahead and, blow $300 or $400 to go to some comedy show and have the front row seat, or to go to some concert to have, a really up-close view, to go and see their favorite pop star and stuff like that. And so pop culture, whether you like it or not, has steeped and indoctrinated us. And I think when you start to observe and analyze things, like especially around like the Oscars and the Academy Awards, look at how many people focus and prioritize their posts and their conversations during that time about someone's dress, about their great performance, about how the host was so funny, this, that, and the other. I mean, even something like the NFL Super Bowl game is obviously the most watched thing on television annually in America, and a lot of it has to do with the commercials. And so you just have to step back and start to analyze this and start to look at your own behavior. But the reality is most people don't give a shit, so they're going to just continue to live in their bubble and, go to their comedy shows. But the thing is, if you start to compare things today to even 15 years ago and then go back another 15 years and just keep going back a decade or every 15 years, you can see this plummet and regression in our culture and our movie choices. I noticed this when I lived in Germany, that Germans were telling jokes that were so innocent that they were all laughing at a table. And my ex-husband and I weren't laughing. And then I sat there and I was like, why aren't we laughing? And I thought, oh my God, it's because our comedy and our humor has gotten so vulgar and so extreme that it's like some innocent joke about, you know, cabbage. I was like, that's not funny. And the reality is, start to look at comedy. Look at somebody like Amy Schumer. I used to think she's funny, and now I think she's just a gross human being, so I don't give a shit about her or her comedy, because it's like the type of femininity that she is producing or sharing, and that's getting into the brains of a lot of women, is just how to be a vulgar slut. Like, I just remember she was talking about, you know, being a slut and kind of like getting jizzed on by a guy on her head. And so it was a lot of like vulgar language. It was just very descriptive. And like at the time I laughed about it, and I think it's really important to have a sense of humor. But the thing is, all of our comedy today is so, it's like you kind of hit rock bottom, and it's like this is all you can get is just, you know, this. It's talking about blowjobs and things like that, and it's like that's not the type of femininity that we need to promote. I mean, I'm not saying all of this stuff is bad. If she's promoting the body positivity thing, that's fine. I don't keep up with like what celebrities are doing or talking about, because I personally think they're for their own gain of their pocketbook rather than for the actual betterment of humanity and well-being. But this is a problem. It's a problem to just go out there and be like, I was a whore and this, that, and the other, and just lay it out there. And is that what we have to aspire to? Because the thing is, if you look back at the movies of the 30s or 40s, yes, they promoted the perfect American family, but at least that was a type of standard to aspire to, was to try to have a good, solid family. Now today, it's just aspiring to be dysfunctional and just to like let it all out. Now there is a positive side to that, where people can come out with, you know, the things like dysfunction, or just realize, yeah, their family's been dysfunctional and stuff like that. And but I just think it's like their actions and behaviors and their words are very, very reflective to how we've become in society. And a lot of this has to do with the indoctrination of celebrities and Hollywood through the movies. Becoming Frank the Tank and still getting piss-ass drunk and wasted at a sports bar and acting like you're in a fraternity in your fucking 30s is not attractive. It is that man-child culture and behavior. And acting like a whore and, you know, running around town like a slut is not attractive either. We've lost that kind of lady and gentleman type of presence, and that's what needs to get more cultivated. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be all modest in your dress. You know, you can still be a bohemian chic girl and earthly hippie and stuff like that, but it's the presence that you're showing. And it is weird. It is just bizarre, because I think other cultures are changing and they are becoming more celebrity obsessed. When I was in India, they were just normal. They loved Bollywood. It was something for them to aspire to and kind of have some escapism with. But as I started following the India Times through the years, they started following the trends of America. So they started judging, you know, the Bollywood actresses and how they looked in her sari and how her hair was and all this, that, and the other. And they started to adopt the more sexual liberating culture and westernized culture in India. And you know what? Some of their things started to digress, and they've lost a lot of their culture. From what I've understood, I haven't been to India since 2007, but from what I'm reading online, in addition to what I've talked to from some of my friends from India, it's like they've definitely become more westernized, less attached to their culture and their cultural roots, which was at least definitely more conservative in the world of love and things like that. So it's like these aren't always good things, but this is something to think about. Hollywood are the new gods, and it's really scary because these people are influencing regular America. And as much as people think, if they are pop culture junkies and their whole world revolves around like these little videos and you know, going to seeing all these mainstream people in live and stuff, it's like they do have a hold on you to some degree. I've been in the techno culture, you know, in Germany and stuff like that. I've seen it. I know what it's like. you get looped up and wrapped up in any industry. The Burning Man people want to fit into Burning Man, so you follow that trend. The country western people want to fit in with country western people, you follow that brand and trend. So it's all about branding and following a trend or the herd in that way to fit in or to expose your identity. So it's scary because Hollywood should be the last thing on our minds right now. And the more that we attach to Hollywood and the less we attach to God and spirituality, it's so apparent today that we are handing over our holidays and everything that our fucking ancestors worked for, the pagans and the Christians. We are handing over our soul to the corporations. Our soul has been long sold many, many years ago. But now instead of saying, because people hate Jesus so much, you know, Christmas isn't about Jesus, it's about the pagans, whatever. But now you know who has that handle on it? It's companies like Amazon, and it's consumerism. Because Christmas shouldn't be just about stuffing people's stockings with a bunch of bullshit that's just going to lie in a corner. We're going down the wrong path, and I'm going to end this video there. So thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. You can subscribe to this channel. Help me build it. And also, if you'd like, you can support me on Patreon or give some form of donation if you'd like, if you believe in my message and my voice. Thank you. Bye.